Carolina on the ride. Carolina on the ride.
Welcome everybody, Bill Mack here. Thanks once again joining for the Panther Prowl. The game just went final. Our beloved Panthers, of course. If you didn't know, the Panthers ended up defeating the Buccaneers 42-28. Wow, this was a game of different halves. I mean, the first half, our Panthers offense exploded. Our defense was shut down on the Buccaneers. And then when halftime came and we started that second half, Panther Nation, I was like we're going into cardiac cat mode again, because then all of a sudden Tampa Bay's offense started kicking in. Ryan Fitzpatrick had over 200 passing yards, and he basically brought them back within one score of tying the Panthers. And I was holding my breath because we done so well. But let me go ahead and just get into you here who I give, because the Panthers offense in that first half and their defense as a whole, sure, the defense gave up some plays, but in the end they ended up giving them when they counted. So this was what happened in the first half here. I'll give you a rundown. Of course, the Panthers had 5 scoring drives. The first drive of the game, they did a 3-and-out. They punted off. They scored 5 straight times. C-Mac, of course, he had 2 rushing touchdowns. An awesome hurdle that should be on highlight reels tonight on TV over a defender to get. And then Curtis Samuel looked good. This was a game he needed to have. This is where that speed, end arounds, double reverses, you name it, our offense was doing it. It looked like a college playbook in the beginning, but it was so great. But we saw Alex Arma, he come in and got him a 1-yard rushing touchdown because of C-Mac and DJ Moore both getting back-to-back 32-yard runs. I mean, these rushing yards were just in big chunks for us today. And we're in a whole lot of ground and pound. It was end arounds, speed, and that's what we have lacked this year has been speed. C-Mac coming in, DJ Moore, Curtis Samuel, they were all doing it for us. They even, handy dandy Greg Olsen had himself a spectacular one-handed catch in the end zone for a touchdown. So Cam, of course, didn't need to pass much today. He was 9 of 12, 127 yards. Plus, that was just in the first half so far. I didn't tally up the final score, but he was pretty proficient in his passing. But when you've got end arounds, plays like they did, there was no need to really go deep downfield. I mean, if this offense is clicking like this, I saw earlier where the last 91, the last 7 quarters make it 8 now. The Panthers have at least 98 points scored. That and goes back to the last quarter of the game against Philadelphia, that comeback they had where they were down. Then last week, the offensive put out we did against Baltimore. Now we hang another 40-pointer on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Panther Nation, we got something to be great about. If it did defense, of course, like I said, it was 35-7 at halftime. I mean, that's the most points the Panthers had scored ever. That's their franchise record ever. So 35 points is like, oh man, it's going to be a big scoring game. But then it's like, whenever they come back, and then this is what happened. Tampa Bay started putting Panthers started playing off, and I'm not going to rag too much on the defense for giving up 21 points, because they did have 21 unanswered points in the second half until that late touchdown by Samuels for his second touchdown of the day. But to say this, the defense, Mario Addison, three sacks. That put him number 4 all-time Panthers franchise sack list. He passed Kevin Green, which Kevin Green had 41.5. Mario Addison now has 44, so congratulations to him. Dante Action Jackson had him a late interception in the game, his 4th interception in 8 games. So congrats to him. Eric Reed had his interception, one of the first in the first part of the first quarter at the start of the game. So congrats to him getting his first as a Panther. I'll tell you, Bradbury. Shout out to Bradbury. Bradbury was given his own in this game. Evans only was limited to one reception. Bradbury had locked it down. Bradbury is wanting to be and to go against the best. He wants to be lined up against the best. He was on Evans, which is their best receiver, all game long, and pretty much had him on lockdown to where he couldn't do that. So Bradbury's going against those big boys, so going against him. But like I said, well, it was 14 points, not, I said it was 7 points, 35-7, 35 14 points at halftime. But, Tampa Bay tried a fake punt try to get a first down. That's how desperate they were in the first half. And he ended up basically, that failed. And so when we started out, like I said, it was 35-14 going in at the half. And then when we start the second half, of course, Mike Evans does get his first catch because the Panthers, of course, are going to be playing a lot off the ball, letting everything happen in front of them, letting nothing get by them. The Fitzpatrick to Humphreys connection started kicking into gear in this because Fitzpatrick hit Humphreys with a 5-yard touchdown in the third quarter. Carolina had no score in the third quarter, so when they come out, they fell flat offensive-wise in the third quarter. The only score in the third quarter was that Humphreys touchdown. The third quarter was really messy, penalty field and timeouts. Panthers ended up basically about losing every single one of their timeouts because they weren't getting to the line on time. They were slacking behind getting to the line and getting the playoff. But anyways, we see again when we come back in the fourth quarter, again Fitzpatrick hits Humphreys on a 30-yard where they thought he might have come short of the goal line. They ended up doing a challenge. They ended up reviewing the play, ended up making it into a touchdown. So that was Fitzpatrick and Humphreys' second score. Of course, Cam basically did finally come back. He ended up hitting Curtis Samuel on a 19-yard touchdown. Beautiful catch. It was his second of the game, as I said. And up until that point, as I stated earlier, the Panthers they were down, but they were outscored 21-0 going into the second half. So they needed this score, give them 42. And like I said, the man Action Jackson ended up having an interception. Panthers ended up running the time clock timeout and basically pick up the win for 42-28. I am very happy with this. It was a nail biter because we're trying so hard. We don't want our team to rest on our defense. Our offense sputtered in the second half, but they come through when the defense needed to. I give it a shout out to all of our secondary. A lot of gripe about our secondary, but we did well with our secondary today. From Reed to Jackson to Bradbury being a stud today on his coverage of Evans. You couldn't ask for better. So linebacking core really didn't have to do too much because weren't much of a running game today. Of course, they put that on lockdown, and for the Panthers to shut down the highest scoring offense in the NFL, hey, another great game because you just beat the best defense last week. So we're quietly making some noise, and I'd rather have us to go under the radar. Let people not expect us now. Now, it's not needless to say, this win is only going to be short-lived because for us, this is a short week. While we win today, we've got to go Thursday night football to Pittsburgh at Heinz Field to play the Pittsburgh Steelers. And the Pittsburgh Steelers were winning when I last looked. So that's going to be a challenge for us. But Pittsburgh's going on the road, so it's going to flip-flop. We were at home to win. We're going on the road. They were on the road. They're coming home. So I look to see how our secondary and our front four handle Ben Roethlisberger and Antonio Brown. So it remains to be seen. But for now, Panther Nation, let's just enjoy this victory. And like I said, Panther Nation, if you like this video, drop a like on this video. Subscribe to my channel. Share this video with other Panther Nation fans. And if you have any questions, comments, things you want to see, feel free to drop them in the comment box. I will make sure that I answer them for you. So until the next time, and I'll try to put out a review before the Pittsburgh game, Until next time, Panther Nation, this is Bill Mack with Panther Prowl. Of course, saying, keep pounding.